Jason Ross on Sactown Sports 1140.
All right, here we are with Monte McNair. Finally tracked him down in Las Vegas. Have you been staying cool in Vegas, if there's such a thing?
Yeah, definitely trying to stay inside as much as possible. But maybe in the mornings get out for a little walk or maybe play some tennis at some point, do something active. But so far I've been staying cool and staying indoors and watching hoops and doing meetings and all that fun stuff.
Are you playing tennis at like 4? How are you being cool anytime in Vegas?
I think it's all relative, but maybe we can get out there like before the triple digits kick in.
True. So you're here to watch basketball. You've watched the Kings for a couple of games so far. I got to say the first game was one of the best games I've ever seen, Summer League or not, and the win the second game. Just kind of a quick overall evaluation of what you've seen.
I think the biggest thing from the first game, that we took away is just the fight of the guys. And, obviously sudden death, double OT did not go our way, but Summer League is so much about the development and, instilling habits, and especially with a new coaching staff coming in and seeing those guys. I forget exactly what we were, but down 18 or 19 with just a few minutes left. And then, of course, down 6 with 5 seconds left. And, to continue that fight and come back and force OT was fantastic. And then to take a tough loss, come back less than, really it's like a true back-to-back less than 24 hours later and beat a good young Indiana team that has some interesting guys and, kind of stick with it and kind of pull it out at the end. We love to see that.
I know, too, for me, just watching the game was great, but, Sabonis and Terrence Davis and everybody, the baseline that was there, Herter, some of the new Kings, like they seem to be Davion into it as much as anybody. That's kind of cool to see.
It was really cool. The some of the videos making the rounds on social media of the celebration, not just of our Summer League bench, but of our some of our vets who were on the baseline. And it's always great. It's kind of Vegas has become a little bit of an unofficial time for a lot of the vets to come together and just, especially for us, we got a couple new faces, get to know each other, show some support for, not just our rookies and young guys on the roster, but other guys that are, trying to make their way into the league. And, that camaraderie, we always talk about it, but, this is where it starts to build that going into the season for when you do hit those real rough patches, and every team will, to help get through it. It starts now.
Let's kind of go in order. It's been a busy offseason for you. You get a new coach, new coaching staff as well. Mike Brown, you land there. You're all in on Coach Brown. I know we haven't really seen him yet, but his fingerprints are here now. What do you see and what do you like so far from Coach Brown?
Well, I think Coach Brown starts with his experience and what he's done in this league speaks for itself. He's coached for 30 years. He's been in the finals as a head coach. He's won championships, as an assistant, and he's just been around so many great players. And he's coached, he's coached guys really from many different backgrounds, experiences, skill sets. And so bringing him in here with, especially his recent stint in Golden State, coming off a championship, that stature of what he stands for, what he represents, and what he's accomplished and done is really exciting. And then I think the way that he sees the game, everybody respects. I respect. We've had great conversations. I think we're aligned very well on how, he's going to implement his philosophy and what he's going to preach. And I think it fits really well with our, current personnel, and we're continuing to try to build that out for him.
I know something you wanted to address was shooting. You certainly have done that. Is Mike Brown, how much of his role will be to also help the defense? Obviously, it's on the players, but scheme, kind of that championship pedigree, how much do you think that'll help on the defensive side?
Yeah, we talked coming into the offseason, certainly with the deadline trade for Sabonis and with the pressure that De'Aaron and Domas put on a defense. We wanted to make sure that we had enough shooting out there, and it's not just shooting. There's many other ways that you can complement those two guys, but certainly shooting and spacing will help them and help our team. And, on the defensive end, we think we have guys that can be two-way players. And one of Coach Brown's biggest things is that, guys are going to have to play both ends to be out there. And, we, at the end of the day, we need to score more points than we give up. And how that manifests itself, whether it's a high score, low scoring, it really doesn't matter to us. We just got to come out on top. And, I think Coach Brown, he has shown that he can coach a lot of different defenses. His Cleveland team is much different than like these recent Golden State teams that he's been a big part of the defense. And, I think that experience will serve him well. And I think we have guys that want to compete. Certainly we need to be better on that end.
Draft comes around, you move up, you go to number 4, you get Keegan Murray. I think everybody I've talked to here and just watching him, he just gets it. I don't know. You would have a better terminology, but he's unflappable. I mean, he looks the part. That's pretty mature so far. What are your impressions of Keegan?
Yeah, first, I'm just happy for Keegan. I think what he did last year at Iowa just was underappreciated. It was really a fantastic season. And, I think coming in here to Summer League and really a lot of maybe NBA folks' first chance to see what he is about. And, his ability, like he obviously scores the ball, he shoots it well, but defensively he's rebounding, he's guarding 2s and he's guarding 5s. He's guarding all up and down and showing just his versatility has been fantastic. And then to, show, like you said, the ice in his veins to hit that big shot. And then yesterday against Indiana to have, 4 or 5 big buckets down the stretch to close it out. It's become a little bit of a fun joke around the team, but I think it's truly just who Keegan is, how he presents himself, and how he approaches the game. And that's certainly going to serve him well with the ups and downs that we all know the NBA presents.
I think Jordy, the Summer League coach, said he doesn't fight the fight. And I like that. Like, it's him versus Paolo, and there's a lot of, there could be some machismo there. Paolo scores on him, and it's like, okay, you scored. Like, I'll get you when he just doesn't rush anything.
For sure. And I think the cool thing about him, we've now seen, I guess, 5 games here in Summer League. You'll be watching and thinking, man, like, I guess Keegan, he's maybe not as good today. And then you look up and he's got, 12 and 8 and it's, the second quarter, and, then he'll make a couple wow plays. He had a great back cut where he dunked over someone and got an and one, and he'll sprinkle some of those in, but he is just so calm, so efficient in how he goes about the game. And sometimes it's a little understated, and, but it serves him well. It serves his teammates well.
How about 2 other guys? I mean, you're valuing everybody that's here, but obviously 2-way contracts, and Nimi and Ellis. I think they've really shown well here. What have you thought about those 2 guys, especially Keita's development?
Yeah, I'll start with Neemias, and we saw a lot of development last year in Stockton, and getting to see him now after a couple months in the summer. Obviously, he hit a big 3, but for me, it's been more about his defensive presence, which we know is what he's going to hang his hat on, and he is just such obviously a big, tall, physical presence, but his ability to move his feet. He's gotten switched onto guys and get back in transition, had a couple chase down blocks. Like, those are like the effort things, the development things that we love to see. And offensively, I think he's underrated with some of his passing and ability to score in the paint, use his size. And, if he hits a couple threes along the way, all the better. And then I think same for Keon, another guy who, it starts with what he does on the defensive end. And, I think he's shown a great tenacity. He's been able to get into the ball, but also off the ball wreak havoc. I think he got his hands in a lot of, those drives by Paulo where Keegan was doing his job and Keon came over, was able to help disrupt. And then offensively, he's played a lot on the wing, and he's hit a bunch of threes here in Vegas, but also Jordy threw him at the point during the comeback, and to see him do that added a little more shooting and size around the team, and his ability to kind of command the team was a nice addition. And again, we like the 2-way players, not the contract, but the guys who can play both ends of the floor, and both those guys have shown flashes on both ends.
And for them specifically, how do you – I don't know how far you map that out. There's certain games they can be with the Kings, certain games they can be with Stockton. Like, what's kind of a general plan? Because there's value to be up with the Kings, but also reps with Stockton. How do you kind of work that out?
Yeah, the league's made it a little easier with some of the recent rules that actually started during COVID. But and the other great thing is that our Stockton both practice and game facilities are both so close. And so these guys obviously will dictate their play. But we view our Stockton G League team as a fantastic development piece, not just for our players, but for our coaches, for schemes, for our staff. But certainly those guys, we'll see how it goes. But both Stockton and being around the team, learning what it's like, especially for Keon as a rookie coming in, seeing all that goes into it. We'll have plenty of flexibility with the contract, given how they do the rules now. Those guys will be able to earn as much playing time as they can earn, and we'll continue to develop them and be in sync with Bobby Jackson and the coaching staff in Stockton. And Mike's already done a great job of making sure that development plan is in place, because that's a huge key for these guys.
You mentioned the shooting that you added, Herder and Monk, obviously two big additions that you anticipate being a big part of this team. How did the trade one come about, and adding Monk, getting him back with Fox, but just also to help your backcourt?
Yeah, we like I said, we had targeted shooting as one of our priorities, not the only priority. And we felt we had some good options, but you never know what's going to actually happen when the free agency calendar ticks over, when trades continue to be discussed. And so when we had the chance to get Malik, who had a fantastic shooting year, really 2 years now where he's been one of the best shooters in the league, and his ability to just stretch defenses, and I think underrated again as a passer, playmaker, and good athleticism. He checks a lot of boxes. And then in addition, when the Kevin Herder trade presented itself, this is why we've preached our flexibility, and we've kept all our draft picks until this point. We finally found a trade that we thought would help us. We did give up one of our first round picks there, but Kevin is a guy who's 23. He's been in the playoffs. He was a starter on that Atlanta team that had a deep run 2 years ago to the Eastern Conference Finals. 6'7", can play really the 2-3, and as he said in his press conference, maybe even some 4, but can play make, can guard multiple positions, and of course can shoot the lights out.
All right, last thing for you to kind of tie up the loose ends. We heard reports of Quinn Cook, Matthew Dellavedova, Shabazz Muhammad, and then even the mystery man, Sasha. What can you kind of add where the Kings are with these guys?
Yeah, I think we're as we kind of get into the later parts of July here and start preparing for training camp, we got a few roster spots, and we're going to continue to monitor what's out there. Certainly trades are still a potential avenue. We have a couple signing tools as well, and some of the guys you mentioned there could potentially be in the mix. And I think the other thing we've talked about with Coach Brown is like the more competition we can have, the better. And we're certainly entertaining the thought of bringing a couple guys to camp and letting them battle it out. And I think what we're trying to build on the court of like a competitive spirit that can translate into training camp and fights for minutes, for time, for roster spots. And I think the more that we have, the better, because it's going to feed into all the stuff we're trying to do throughout the season.
I know Kings fans are excited. It's going to be fun to see them here. You want to go play tennis now? It's only about 1:15 out.
Yeah, we could probably last like maybe 2 games. I don't think the 5 sets that Djokovic and those guys were playing at Wimbledon is in the cards, but I should probably get out and do a little something. And I'm glad Dave wasn't on here. It's so much better with just me and you. We have just such a good chemistry. But just kidding, Dave. But we'll maybe it was a little cooler, get out on the golf course or something. Yes. Finally take a break. It's been a long couple of years with this COVID stuff, but I would just like to give a big thank you to my staff, who since we came in, a lot of us together for the first time 2 years ago. It's been a blitz and it's been crazy, but it's been a lot of fun. We feel like we're in a really good spot. Like I said, we don't feel like we're done. We don't ever feel like we're done, but I do hope we get a little bit of a break, see our families, recharge, and we'll be ready to go for the season.
Awesome. Thanks, Monty.
Thanks, Jason.
You wanted more Kings coverage? You've got it. More Niners, more Raiders, more NFL coverage than anywhere else in Sacramento. The best and most expansive coverage of your